Oh. Okay, foundation. Democracy isn't inventable. This doesn't exist in the United States because people in America believe it's best for all possible political systems. Democracy exists in the countries because we believe as Americans that it is a basic concept. These will continue as long as the people continue to subscribe and practice those concepts.
So you're saying we could lose our democratic principles here in this country? Mm-hmm. If we allowed the president to just start dictating what he wanted and writing laws and telling people what they can and can't do, that would be a scary thing. Mm-hmm. So if the president writes laws and it's not to Congress, we might want to get nervous real fast.
Yeah. Move. Possibly.
Move.
Going to Canada.
American concept of democracy rests on the basic nations. A recommendation of the fundamental worth of dignity of every person, a respect for the equality of all persons, a faith in majority rule and insistence upon minority rights, an acceptance of necessary compromise, and insistence upon the widest possible degree of individual freedom.
Well, doesn't that get a little messy, though? I mean, to satisfy all those things, that means that sometimes what you want won't always happen. You elected someone, you expect them to go do what you want and have it done. But listening to those 5 principles, democratic principles, I may not always get what I want. I might have to compromise, I might have to sacrifice, which is why it's appealing to sometimes have a president just tell you what to do, or this is how it's going to be. Because a democracy, a republic, is messy. It takes time. It requires compromise. Some people like the idea of just having one person in charge and calling the shots. That's okay if you like what he's doing, but if you don't like what he's doing, you feel that your rights have been what?
Violated.
And your vote means
nothing.
Trash.
It can be written in many different ways, but they have formed a very limited wording for anyone who professes to believe in democracy must agree to it. Worth the individual. It's based upon a belief in the fundamental importance of the individual. Each person, no matter what his or her station in life, is a separate and distinct being. This balance between individual freedom and the needs of the people in society. People could be forced to do this if they like it or not.
Democratic society forces people to pay taxes or obey traffic signals. These services the interest of many. It's not serving the interest of mass of people who happen to outnumber the few. So in other words, it's serving many people who, as individuals together, make up society. These are some pictures.
of.
Okay, the one in the money is you're paying your taxes like welfare, and then forcing to go to school, and being drafted into like something you want, like the army. And then this one is you don't obey the sign. It's fine.
It's interesting that you said being forced to go to school. What do you mean by that?
Like
We're required to
we're
attend
required
school.
to, isn't it?
Because people are paying for education and they like want us to go attend.
It's
So
the
then-
law for you to go to school.
Because however much many students
I'm just saying
attend,
it's interesting that you say you're forced to, but is it about perspective? Because if you went back to the post-Civil War era when newly emancipated slaves now had the opportunity
Oh my
to
god.
go to school. Isn't it interesting the paradigm shift that, you know,
Yeah.
Equality of all persons. Democracy stresses the equality of all individuals. Jefferson said all men are created equal. But of course democracy doesn't insist on an equality of conditions for all people. But also we need to think that not all humans have the same abilities like the rest. Everyone is different and not built the same. Democracy concept of equality insists that all are entitled to equality of opportunity and equality before the law. These means not no person should be held back by their rights. Doesn't matter what color, race, religion, or gender.
we had quite a few amendments that back that up, don't we? 13. 14th, 15th, 19th, 26th.
Majority rule, minority rights. Democrats argue that more people will be right more than they will be wrong, and more people will also be right often than will any one person or small group. Democrat will be described as an experiment or a trial and error process designed to find satisfactory ways to order human relations. They also say that a non-majority will arrive at the best decisions on public matters.
That not majority, I'm not sure I understand that last phrase there. They also say that not majority will arrive at the best decision.
Not all majority.
Like sometimes most of the people aren't always right, so.
So you're saying that majority rule can't exist if it violates minority rights. Is that what you're saying? Even though a majority of people want it, doesn't mean it's necessarily right or should move forward if it compromises the individual rights of a minority group.
Yes.
Okay.
Majority rule, minority rights. We don't search for satisfactory solutions to public problems. Democracy doesn't admit their mistakes or possibility of mistakes. It acknowledges the possibility that wrong or less satisfactory answers will sometimes be found. Democracy can't work without the principles of majority rule. However, majority could destroy its opposition and in the process destroy democracy of law.
When the people wanted to kill Jesus, the king asked them if he wanted them to kill Jesus or the other guy.
Wait, are you talking about the Sanhedrin, the leaders of the Jews who wanted to eliminate him? And you're talking about Pontius Pilate, who was the Roman governor?
Yeah.
I just remember a scene where they were the emperor asked, like, would you rather
The
me
governor. That Pontius
or the-
Pilate was the governor.
Probably, yeah. Asked, do you want me to kill this guy or do you want me to kill Jesus? And
Barabbas.
And everyone said, kill Jesus. And he didn't want to kill Jesus. But since it was like what they wanted,
Majority rule.
Well, the only reason he said that is because he didn't want to take the heat, but that's another story.
oh,
Majority must also recognize that the right of any minorities so it will become fair and lawful. Majority must always be willing to listen to the minority's agreements, to hear its objections, to bear its criticism, and welcome its suggestions. The civil rights of 1965 and the voting rights of 1965 is an example of the minority rights protecting the majority rule. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 all started with the federal summer of 1964. North and white liberties joined South and blacks to register black voters. This was very difficult because many people lost their lives just to register black voters.
Necessity of compromise. Compromise is a process of blending and adjusting competing views and interests. It's an essential part of the democratic concept for two major reasons. Democracy puts the individuals first, at the same time insists that each individual is equal of all others. Some public questions can be answered in different ways. For example, how a city should pay for the paving of a public street. Should they change the zone property along the street, or should the cost be paid from the city's general treasury? Or should the city and the adjacent property owners share the cost? We have to remember that compromise is a process, a way of achieving majority agreement. It's never an end in itself, but also no compromise is good or necessary to.
What do you mean by that last bullet?
I meant to put a cure, but I changed it.
Wow. 10 minutes.
Individual freedom. Absolute freedom can exist only in a state of anarchy, with total absence of government. Anarchy can only lead individually and equally, quickly, to rule by the strong and ruthless. Democracy doesn't exist, and he or she thinks that freedom.